All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Palisades Episode 4 Exit Interview. I'm Emmett, the creator, producer, host, and editor of Survivor Palisades, and I'm joined by the fourth person voted out of the game, the winner of David versus Goliath, Stratton Chan. Stratton, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Emmett?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. Rainy day on the East Coast. My hair's a little wet, but
All
it's
good.
10 p.m. right now, but we're getting through the day. We're almost done, and a week of classes ahead of me. Um,
Yeah.
how are you?
I'm great. No, honestly, until you said I forgot about the time change. Pretty good core system here, so school's just starting to ramp up. But no, it's only 7 o'clock right here. But other than that, I'm doing great. I've been rewatching all the episodes, and honestly, I've kind of forgotten everything that got laid out, and so it's really riveting to watch through again.
Yeah, you told me before jumping on this call that you literally watched your torch get snuffed like 5 minutes ago. What did it feel like
Yep.
watching that back?
Oh, it was crazy, honestly, because I could see through your editing, you kind of keep on paying to me a little bit, and when the votes were being tallied, I took my hat off or something. I don't know if I was just hot, but maybe that was kind of my instincts, like ooh, but I really did feel blindsided. But it's really interesting to see the other half of the puzzle that I wasn't on. So
Totally. All right, well, let's just jump right into it. So, you have a pretty interesting history with Survivor Palisades. I think probably out of anyone on the cast besides the season one players, you've been with us the longest. So, you started filming back in 2018, season two. You filmed Fans
mhm.
versus Favorites. Then you filmed Sabotage Island on your birthday in 2019.
That's
Um,
right. Yeah.
yeah, a crazy lineup. And then, so David versus Goliath, for people who didn't know at home, was originally supposed to film in March of 2020, and then 3 weeks before COVID happened. You weren't on that original cast, but when we then redid the cast in 2021 and recast the season, you were there, and so you played on Dave vs. Goliath. Fun little fact about that too. From the original 2020 cast, one out of the 12 people cast came back to play on the actual Dave vs. Goliath season, and it was Sammy the first boot, which I think is hilarious. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you played in season four. You come on, you win the show after filming for a while. What did it feel like? I mean, your reaction to winning, you only that aired in March of 2024, even though it filmed about 4 years ago now. Just tell me a
Mhm.
little bit about winning Dave vs. Goliath, and just in general, what did it feel like to come on the show and win it?
Oh no, it was awesome. I personally haven't seen too much Survivor. I watched at that time it was the recent All-Star season. I was really invested. My dad's a huge Survivor junkie. He had watched, every season since it came out. But I kind of I think that especially that season, more so than this time around, I've struck the balance between, kind of flying under the radar, but also still putting some good moves together. I think it was harder to try to pull off this time around because I already did have the target on my back going in, but it felt great to win it. I was really happy. If you asked me in the beginning of that morning if that would happen, I didn't think the odds were really with me, but especially as a David, but it ended up working out really well, and that was fun.
Yeah, for sure. So when you get the call to play All Stars, it had been at that point about 3 years almost since we filmed Dave vs. Goliath. Was it an immediate yes for you? Did you want to come back to Survivor Palisades when you
Oh,
heard
for
there was
sure.
an All Star season?
Without a doubt. Yeah, no, David versus Goliath is great, but being able to play with all the all-stars, that's you can't exactly pass that up, especially just coming off of a win. So,
Totally. Yeah. So you were, I was just talking with Vanessa last week, but you were in like
mhm,
the first batch of people I contacted. I contacted, I think, Sean, and then like almost like half the David vs. Goliath cast. I contacted you,
mhm.
Ella Rose, Gage, Sarah, Vanessa. If you guys were willing to play again, and you said yes right away, which was actually back in like September, October. So you had about like almost 9 months of time since you knew you were going to do it to when it actually happened. What was like the prep process for this season like compared to, I don't know, David versus Goliath? Were you sort of looking at going back at certain people and seeing what the older people were like, or watching any Survivor or anything like that to prep?
I'll be completely honest with you, I didn't really prep too much. Maybe that is what ended up backfiring a little bit in my plan, but no, I was walking into it. I rewatched a little bit on my season to see how I interacted with other people and what worked well, but also especially like the sentiment other people had towards me then. If they kind of see what I was pulling off. Besides that, it would have been nice to I should have looked maybe back at season 2 or 3 or something to get some feelers on my competition. But besides that, I was interested to see what the dynamic with Ella Rose would be because. And did come to play this season that we jumped back in after post merge, and we had a good thing going. But also, she recognized that she could be going for me. So she wanted to keep our alliance thing going. It was easy, but also there was 80% trust in me, and that 20% came from me voting for her. But yeah.
Mm. Yeah, talking about coming in as a winner with such a massive target on your back, what was your plan for that? Is there, you think, any way to get out of that? You see Dylan come in also as a winner, but also he won at such a young age where it's definitely different. Like his cognitive
hmm
abilities were very different when he wins at 12 versus when you win as sort of like a fully fledged person. And also with the recency bias, especially, David vs. Goliath
hmm
finished airing 3 weeks before we filmed All Stars. Was there anything
Yeah.
you think you could have done, or was there any strategy you had going in as a winner to just sort of protect yourself?
Honestly, going into it, my strategy wasn't changed as much as it should have been in hindsight. I knew there was a target on my back, but I was gonna try to skirt that a little bit. But in hindsight, the first backfire that you know, like walking into it, there was a target on my back, but I think the first thing that actually like started that fire was me trying to secretly look at that clue in the bush in the
Hmm.
corner. I think it was Chloe that clocked me doing that, but honestly, it wasn't the best move. I thought I could still try to fly under the radar, but I had eyes everywhere, even in my own camp. So, I probably should have shared that right off the bat, or actually been in a really private place to read that clue. But yeah, it was crazy. I didn't know where that clue was at the
Yeah,
time, or
looking
where
back,
the item was.
totally. Looking back at that moment, do you think that there was a better way that you could have gotten out of that? You mentioned two there, but do you think it would have been smarter to, I don't know, grab the clue, wait, read it in confessional, or just share it right away? Do you think there was a way? Because at this point, Chloe had not found it until the clue was given out. Was there a way that
Mhm.
you look at it now that you think would have been easier or better for you to sort of stay in power or stay in people's trust?
Um, yeah, for sure. I think I went about it pretty much the worst way. If I could have pulled it off, if I could have pulled it off without being spotted or looking a little bit sus, then yeah, it would have worked, but it was kind of high risk, especially in that camp. There was not really
Super
much to
small.
hide,
Yeah.
I was just and also, in the editing, I could just see I'm crouched in the corner and people were just kind of looking at me. But if I wanted to stay in power, on a certain level, like power where they don't know it. I should have looked at it in confessional, or if I wanted to stay in power in more of a sociable way, or gain some of their trust to show that I'm not here just to make giant moves. And like last season, I probably should have just found it and shared it right off the bat. That could have been a good shoe in for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, just speaking about idols in general, you have the unique distinction of being, I don't know if you know this, the first person in Survivor Palisades to ever find an idol without someone noticing. Like in Dave vs. Goliath, you're the first person ever after 4 seasons to find an idol and not have anyone see you find an idol. So that's a pretty
Really?
cool, yeah, it's a pretty cool little
Huh.
stat that you have. Both Chloe and Dylan this season also find an idol and no one sees them, which is pretty cool. Chloe's the first person to do it at that camp, but yeah, cool little distinction that you have there. So we see you align with Sean right away. But like talking about when you first see this cast, including the people on Cele, was there anyone right away off the bat that you think you would have aligned with on their tribe, or anyone else on Yara that you wish that you would align with, like that in the day you really wanted to?
Okay, you'll have to remind me one more time. Cele was red.
Blue. Cele's
All right,
blue.
Sele was blue. Okay. Honestly, post merge, if Gage was still there, I would have merged. I would have been with Gage. We had a we kind of tried to start something, Dave versus Goliath, except he was voted off early there too. I was dying laughing in your current editing when he's telling me, when I was younger then, he's like, "Don't pull any stupidness on me,
Yeah.
Stratton," and someone commented that as well, but that was really funny. Um, Honestly, yeah, I wanted to work with Ella Rose too. I thought that that was going to come to fruition, especially after we talked before the planking challenge. But yeah, honestly, I was really wanting to go ahead of Sean. I also thought that, I mean, Chase, he kind of did flip on me pretty quickly. He still, he said that he wanted to be kind of loyal, but, at the end of the day, maybe I came off as a little bit too brash. Yeah, especially with Abigail. But honestly, they were all looking in their own interests, so I don't blame them.
Yeah, so we see the second round of the game. Catalina goes home. And you're sort of the
Mhm.
alternate target. Were you aware when you were there at that day how much sort of the target was on your back from players like Sarah or Catalina? Did you pick up on the fact that Sean was really trying to prevent you from going home? Did he make that clear to you? Did you sort of sense that with, Sarah or Catalina specifically? I'm not sure if Chloe was as strong, but she was up there too,
Mhm.
you could say.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's been a while. I don't think that Sean really made that clear to me, which also is kind of cool. He didn't feel like he had to get into my good graces even further by saying how he stuck up for me. But no, I didn't really realize that it had we lost that challenge, I would have been on the outs. After the challenge, I didn't really think of it too much. I didn't have to. Kind of like what Abigail was saying, after she won individual immunity, she has to keep on reminding herself that she can't go home tonight. Maybe that's that contributed to her, brashness and putting the well executed plan together. But no, I didn't really realize I was on the outs as much as I did. Maybe that was a little bit of overconfidence still coming in from my Dave versus Goliath win.
Mm. Okay, awesome. So, one more thing about this merge. So
Hmm.
we see you come in and target Dylan. Looking back, do you think there would have been any benefit for you keeping Dylan as like a shield? Sort of how Sean wanted to keep you as a shield. Say you had kept Dylan as a shield as like a bigger challenge player, the biggest challenge player, and also another winner. Do you think come the merge, had you have gotten the chance to do it again, do you think aligning with players like Dylan who were more above the radar would have been a strong move for you?
It depends. Now looking at the final cut, I realize now more how, out Dylan was, he was more on the bottom, he had a target on his back, and that's what was said during tribal, but it would have been nice to keep him around. I think he would have been a good guy to ally with, but also at the same time, similar to the individual immunity streak that I had going, David versus Goliath. He's a really strong guy. He really did great in that pool challenge. I think it could have been a slippery slope where he could have continually have gotten some really good individual immunity plays, and it just would have been hard to take him out. And so that was the biggest thing when I came to Abigail. The thing that kind of she was the one who spearheaded the plan to get me out. She said, "Oh, Dylan's gonna get out eventually. Everyone wants to get Dylan. We might as well just do that later. Let's, who did she want to get out
She didn't
at the
set a
time?
name. She was just saying someone
Yeah,
else, I think. Yeah.
she was saying someone else. Yeah, and I was saying, yeah, but also, she said, everyone wants to get him out. And then she said, so let's wait. And at the exact same time, I was saying, no, let's nip this in the bud.
Hmm.
So I was saying, we want him out. Let's just do it while we can. You have immunity. We don't know if the next time he's not going to be immune. So,
Right. Like that was
um,
you on season 4. You had that string of winning and the idol.
Yeah,
You could have
exactly.
done what
And
you did.
from what
Yeah.
I remember, if I didn't have that streak of winning, I would have gotten out earlier and not made it to the final three. So I could have, at the time I did, and I still do see that it could have been, Dylan could have been in that same position I was. So, Abigail is wanting to do the same thing to me that I wanted to do to Dylan. Eventually she was talking to other people and she said, let's get Stratton out. He's a big threat. Let's do it while we can. And that's the exact thing I was saying about Dylan. So I saw him as a threat, but I went on tangent. To answer your original question, he could have been a good guy to align with, but honestly, I think I was going to go forward with some better alliance people, and I think he was expendable, and we should have voted him out at the time.
Awesome. All right. Let's finish this up with questions about Ella Rose. Talk to me a little bit about your
Mhm.
relationship with Ella Rose. You guys were such an iconic duo in Dave vs. Goliath. Everyone was rooting for you at home. Everyone was wanting you guys to win. You did vote for Ella Rose during the season, and then you sort of come back and decide, I'm not going to vote her out at the end. You're going to bring your closest ally to the end. But you guys were up against a wall of Goliaths for the entire game.
Mhm. Yeah.
Going into this season, what was your perspective on that relationship? Were you going to ride with it towards the end like last season?
I was planning on it. Yeah. Although it was different from both sides. I mean, post the time between Dave vs. Goliath when we filmed it and then when it came out, I had completely blocked out of my mind that I voted for Ella Rose on her idol play. I thought it was us two versus the world, kind of like me
Mm.
and Sean. But no, I totally forgot that I had flip-flopped on that, which in hindsight, I I would have changed that. So coming into the season, we both knew that there was a little bit of trust that had to be rebuilt. And I was gonna go forward with that. I wanted to help her out over the, next few hours. But she was kind of that partially broken trust. She acknowledged many times that it was easy and that she did trust me, but at the same time, I think one of her quotes was, he has to know that I can go for him too. So she went forward with that, and so, props to her. But yeah.
Yeah, do you think this was the right move for Ella Rose? Do you think keeping you in would have been a smart move since you did want to go with her, or do you understand her timing at this point in the game?
I understand her timing, for sure. Just like I just said with Dylan, he could have been a great ally. I didn't have as much history as him, of course, with as me and Ella Rose did. I basically just met the guy. But Ella Rose, if I was in her shoes, I still have a little residual betrayment from when I flip-flopped on her for David vs. Goliath. But I honestly, I think I would have kept Stratton around a little bit longer. But maybe, give me another shot or at least see what I'm made of. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm loyal most of the time, but uh yeah, no, so I'm not salty about it. I totally understand why she did what she did, but I think we could have been a great team if she had held her horses on that.
Awesome. All right. Well, in hindsight, how was your experience on All Stars? Did you enjoy playing? Are you excited for the rest of the show to come out? And also, what else do you think you would have done? Anything else that from your perspective now you want to let people know? Any
Mhm.
fun stuff like that?
Yeah, no, I had a great time on All Stars. I'm thankful that since I did get out early, at least I was the first person on the jury. I could be a little active in the game. It was really interesting seeing how everything was shaking out. As someone on the jury. But yeah, no, seriously, it's been a little while. It's been a little over a year since we filmed this. And I've forgotten so much of the stuff that's happened. And it's like watching a TV show that I'm in for, the first third or whatever. But it's been really intriguing watching. Also, it's everyone knows, but it's so underrated how now, from my point of view, I'm able to see 100% of the puzzle and not just the
Mm.
10 to 15% I was in. When I was at pre-merge, I had no idea the intricacies of what was going on at the other tribe. That's also why I didn't really know that, Dylan was really low on the social totem pole. But then also post-merge, I wasn't on those discussions. I was in the dark about that play that was going against me, of course, and so was Sean. They knew that he would have told me, or we were loyal to each other, and so it was us two thinking that we were pulling off this Dylan move, and that's not exactly how it shook out. So I had a great time. It was amazing. I would hope to do it again at some point, Real Survivor or Survivor Palisades. But
Who
yeah,
knows?
honestly, I should have gone in maybe with a little more humility, not as much overconfidence. But honestly, I'm really excited to see how the rest of this season shakes out.
Awesome. And one more thing, because we were talking
Mhm.
about a second ago, and people have been asking online, like, what was this thing with the Chloe idol in terms of Yara's perception of it? Did you guys genuinely think that nobody found the idol? What was it like in those first 6 hours of the day?
Honestly, I think I was so caught up in my ego that I didn't find it after sharing the clue that
Mm,
I seriously thought, I kept on looking and post merge, it's still in the back of my mind. I'm thinking, okay, it wasn't where I looked. Where could that idol still be? I didn't really think that it was going to be in someone's pocket at the time, or Chloe. I thought maybe she would have told us or someone. I think honestly, I think out of everyone in our camp, I think everyone would have shared except Chloe.
mm.
Looking at all the intricacies now, I think Sarah would have shared, Sean would have shared. I don't know if Chase, would have had the foresight to not share. But Chase is kind of more of a fly under the radar and go with the flow,
Totally,
which it's great.
totally.
It worked out amazing with him, season 4. So honestly, I genuinely thought that it wasn't found, and when that idol did come into play later in the season, I was really shocked.
Totally. Yeah. So, last question. As I said, anything else that you want to tell the audience that maybe didn't air? Anything from your like lived experience on this show for about 7 years now, which is crazy, that has never made the cut? Anything that you want to share from this season? Anything at all?
Um, Nothing really crazy or in particular is coming to mind. I filmed season 2 and 3. I'm so thankful to have been part of that. And although, filming 3 after that, I was really hoping you'd ask me to come to 4, and you did. And then, um, when I got the call for All-Stars for 5, I was so pumped. Also, especially because I was playing with people that I didn't get to play with season 4, like, Sean,
Mm,
Abigail, I already know them. It was great playing with Dylan. I didn't even know him until you said that he was gonna be an All-Stars, and I knew that he won season 1. But it was really awesome being able to play with people over a multitude of seasons, and also running it back with people like Vanessa and Gage. Like that was awesome, and it was really funny seeing how their dynamic continued to shake
oh
out
my
between the
God, so
two.
good, so good.
But no, I had a great time. I can't really think of anything in particular that didn't make the cut. Again, my memory of even this season is a little bit fuzzy, but that all the better where I can watch this whole thing that's going on that I
There you
lived through,
go.
but I don't remember too well. So it's crazy to see all the intricacies. I am loving how it's going through, seeing all of these exit interviews and everything. It's just really awesome to see how this season's currently shaking out, and I will definitely be tuned for what's to come.
Awesome. We love to hear it. Well, thank you so much, Stratton, for giving us your time and dedication for
Hey, well,
seven
thanks for having
years.
me.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And for those watching, you should check out on October 18th, this Saturday at 1 p.m. We will be recapping the merge episode with the normal crew. And then episode 5 will be airing October 23rd at 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. So go check that out. Go check those things out in the future. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Have a good night.